There's one thing about collecting that always kind of rattles around about my skill, and it's the perception versus reality of a collection. When you start collecting movies, this is probably in the purest form, where you're just getting movies that you really love. Then you start to experiment, you start to blind buy things, your collection grows, sometimes exponentially, and sometimes it just becomes a little bit misshapen from what you really love. And one of the things I've become really fascinated with over the past little while is the form of curation versus a collection. Now, I'm very much in the collection part of it, and I know there's a few viewers here who are very much in the curation, and I can understand that. But I also find it a little bit restrictive at times as well, and you guys can tell me what I'm getting wrong about this. The curation of a collection is having movies that you utterly love, that are indicative of your likes. Movies that you ultimately just think are amazing and you want to have. And I appreciate that. But there's something I really kind of like about having little flaws in the collection. Movies that don't quite tick the boxes. Movies that I struggle with. Movies that I'm never quite sure if I actually hate the movie or love it. And there's a couple of movies in my collection like that. Two of the most obvious ones is Observe and Report and Revolver. Both movies that I've watched multiple times, and I can never decide whether I really like it or if I absolutely hate it. And I like having these kind of movies because I think they add a little bit of spice to a collection. But the curation faction is something that I really like. And what I want to know from the curators out there is, how do you go about discovering new titles? How do you decide what you want to have in your collection? For me, the biggest part of being a collector is the blind buys. That's what I love about movies now. There is the odd time I'll pick up something that I've seen and that I love. Sometimes I've discovered something on a streaming channel that I need to have the physical copy of. Sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it's just I blind buy and I discover something that I just love. And that's what really excites me as a film fan. That's what makes it exciting to be a collector, is stumbling across these titles. And although I had for the longest while never watched everything I bought, there's still some fun and excitement going back into my collection. Last year I just pulled out Harakiri out of nowhere, out of the Masters of Cinema collection, and it blew me away. An utterly wonderful, magnificent movie. Now, if I was a curator, I wouldn't have had that title because I hadn't seen it. I was planning to watch it at some point, but if I was curating a collection, if I hadn't seen that title, I wouldn't have bought it. I've heard rumours that it's now going out of print, and I would have missed out on that kind of title. And I'm both fascinated by both of these camps, and I'm wondering if there's a middle ground you can get there. Collect things, watch them, appreciate them, decide that it's something you want in the collection, and maybe sell it on. And that's something that I've always struggled with. Being a film fan, I tend to love most films. It takes a lot for me to dislike a movie. You'll see it with my movie reviews. I'll always look for a silver lining, something I liked. Every now and again, I'll stumble across something I don't, but it takes a lot for me to not like a movie. It takes a lot for me to even post a review about a movie I don't like, because I don't have the interest in really talking about things I'm not interested in. But the discovery is part of the reason that I love being a collector. The inability to let things go is the downfall of my being a collector. It's the one that kind of leaves me high and dry on space, on money, on everything that's problematic within my collection. I would love to be able to watch a movie and go, I didn't like that, I'm never going to go back to it. But the problem is if I see a movie that I love, I want to go back to it. If I see a movie I hate, I still think I'm going to go back and give that another shot. Was it me? Was there something that I didn't like about it? I post a review, I talk to people, they kind of go, well, maybe you should look at this angle, maybe this might enlighten you, this might be why you didn't like it. And that makes me want to reassess that watch. And it gives me that inability to let things go. And I think that's the biggest hang up I've probably got being a physical media collector, that curation versus collection. And I see benefits in both, and I also see down points in both. Like I said, the blind buys, the discovery of movies, the going to the collection and pulling out something that I hadn't seen. It's just, it really can just turn my day around, discovering something, energizing me, enthusing me, making me excited about being a film fan yet again. Yeah, this is something weird. I talking to a lot of people in similar boats or people in the opposite camp has really kind of made me wonder a lot more. So I want to pose some questions to you guys, to the curators out there. What do you do about discovering new titles? Or do you have enough titles in your life that you're like, that's me done? I've got this 1,000 movie list, 500 movie collection, and that's all I ever want. I'm done. Or do you constantly discover new things? How often do the curated people watch movies within their collection? Is it a yearly thing? Every 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? As for the collectors, why do you not sell titles on? What is there that stops you from releasing titles once you've caught them in your hands? I would like to kind of meld both of these factions together. Curated collection, where I'm still discovering, I'm still blind buying, but the collection is pure adoration movies. I'd like to know if you're in a similar boat as me. Do you love most things? Do you find it hard to dislike a movie? Anyway, let me know in the comment box below. I'll see you next time on Man v Film.